Hello everyone, this is Borna Kazerani from Melbourne, Australia. I hope you're doing fine. So, today I'm going to have a conversation with Elisabeth Baralt, communicator, writer, inspirer, and develop her successful career in Venezuela, her home country. From the beginning of her studies in social communication at the Central University of Venezuela, she remained a regular collaborator in prestigious newspapers and magazines, managing to achieve leadership positions. Then she took a leap into screenwriting and filmmaking. Her great potential as a producer also led her to make documentaries, television shows, and thousands of commercials at the head of her own production company. Elisabeth studied and practices the spiritual teaching of the Los Angeles-based movements of spiritual inner awareness. As part of her career, she completed Master of Science in Spiritual Sciences, taught by Peace Theological Seminary and AMP, College of Philosophy of California. Throughout her career as a producer, Elisabeth always continued to nurture her creative writing skills. Not only she did develop scripts for televisions and documentaries, but she also wrote several books as a ghostwriter. This is how in mid-2017 she published her most recent book, Loving Behind Life. Later to her son who passed away, and teach her to live, bestseller on Amazon a month after its launch. Let me ask Elisabeth to join me for a conversation. Elisabeth, hi!
Hi, Borna.
How are you doing?
Fine, here in Los Angeles.
Yes. I prefer to choose a different location today for our conversation.
Love it.
Yes. So, first of all, happy birthday again. I know your birthday was a couple days ago, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and I wish you all the best. So, do you want to say hi to those who are watching us now, or maybe later?
Well, I say hi, everybody. I love to be here with you. Thank you for having me. And thank you all that are watching this, because this is a great opportunity to connect from heart to heart. Yes.
Thank you. Elizabeth, I would like to congratulate you and say I'm so proud of you as a human being. So you are a powerful woman, and thank you for being here on my show today. Really, I really appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
When we were talking yesterday, I couldn't hold back my tears,
Oh my
and you've
God.
noticed that.
Yeah.
And there are millions of people living on the planet, and many of them have lost their children, including yourself. So, but you didn't only giving up on life, but the death of your child opened a different perspective towards life for you. So, the loss of your son led you to write a book, Loving Behind Life.
Yeah.
And talk to me about this book, please.
Well, this is a book. Can I show it?
Yes.
This is the book in Spanish, okay? I wrote it in Spanish,
Yes.
and the translation to English is already done. So my next project is to publish it in English. So, or the
Tell,
person that,
tell me about this story. Why did you write that?
well, as you said, I lost my son. He was 20 years old, and he suffered from asthma.
Asma.
And, yes, asthmatic. And in well, he passed away because of a huge attack of asthma. So I had this conversation with him 2 months before he passed away, because well, he had a, also a severe attack one midnight at home, and he died. He died. And when we arrived to the hospital, they told us we can't do anything. Well, we can't. He's dead. So we were yelling and crying, and in that space in the hospital, and suddenly he stand up and said, "Where I am, what is this?" And while doctors and everybody running and help him to establish it. And well, next day, that it was my birthday, when he was at home, casually my birthday, when I was at home, and I still shocked. He told me, "Mom, I want to speak with you alone. Please, come on. I want to tell you something. Why are you crying so much?" "Well, because I saw you dead, and I'm suffering, thinking how much you suffer." And he told me, "No, Mom, I didn't suffer anything. I went to a beautiful, beautiful and peaceful place. And I didn't want to return here. It was like a beautiful. And I saw my life since I was a child, like a film, like a picture, year by year. And I was happy. I didn't want to come back." So wow, and he told me, "Don't tell it to anybody, less to my friends, because they're going to think I'm crazy." No? So now I told everybody in this book this story. Why? Because I have, after he passed away, I was like years with this pain and everything, but I realized that when I was telling people what happened with him 2 months before he died, because it happened on June and he passed away on August. Definitely, he was with his friends, three friends, and they couldn't do anything. The same that me and my husband, when he had that experience with us. So I realized that when I was telling person uh, what happened with him, they were like, "Oh my God, this is wonderful." Especially when I was speaking with somebody that have lost, somebody, some loved one, and they always tell me, "Oh my God, thank you for telling me this. This is very, very healing." And, I was with that thing in my mind. And as soon as I could, feel better, I began to doing searching about what was that my son, had 2 months ago to pass away. And I found many, many, many stories. Not many, many as now, because now everybody's like out of the closet with this experience. The name is near-death experience. But I found at that moment books that speak about that, from doctor, from medicals, doing research, searching about person that in surgeries or any problem in the hospitals, they pass away, I come back. now. And this author, Raymond Moody, he did a wonderful book that opened my mind about this near-death experience. Actually, the name of this phenomenon, near-death experience, is from him. He was like the first person that investigated about that. So in this book, after, I don't know, like 15 years later or 16 years later, I decided to write the book. I decided to write the book because I thought this is very important to tell people that there is a way to be connected with our loved one, because it was not only the experience he had, but he sent to us many signs after he passed away. And we could feel that he was with us. And I realized that everything is about love. I can continue, I could continue loving my son. Imagine what he is now. And that is what I tell everybody when they consult me or ask me about this, when they are grieving. And I say, you can continue loving your son or your brother or your friend or whatever as they are now. And what they are now, pure and beautiful light, energy. That's what we are. All of us are the same, because we are not these bodies. We are souls, energy, light, whatever name you want to name it, living into our bodies. So you can continue giving him or her your love, and looking and as if you can calm inside, and you can get your inner peace, you can connect with that person that passed away better than if you are in pain and crying. I know that is almost impossible if you lost a son or something, like your mom or somebody so dear for you. It's impossible to not to cry and not to to suffer. Is the is the first step of the grieving. But you can't be 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, like many persons that I know, in that process of grieving. No, because life goes. Your life goes.
Exactly, exactly. And you said something yesterday, it was quite interesting. You said life is like a feature film, but
Oh, yes.
without script. And I love that.
Yes,
That's
because, as you said in reading my biography, I had many years, like more than 20 years, working as producer in feature film, documentary, commercials. I began in Venezuela many, many, many years ago. I don't know. I don't want to say how many.
that's like,
And continue. I came to US in 16, no, 17 years ago. And I could continue in TV shows like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. I'm gonna ask you that question, but
but
uh,
what you ask me is that I was saying, what do I what do I do now that is right and ghostwriting and translator
what
and
writing?
what it has
What
to
is
do with.
ghostwriting?
Yes. Well, my experience in film and my love to film says this, that what you were saying, life is like a film. We all of us 7 billion persons are characters. We are characters. What happened, the difference with a film is that we don't have a script. Because the director told us the script before coming here down, but we forgot it. Because
Exactly.
so we have to figure out day by day what I'm going to perform today. So, but the key is love. The key is love. And the director told you, you have to perform your character, but remember, love is the key. But
Of
everybody
course.
forget it. Everybody
Of, of course. It's very, very interesting. So the impact of your book led you to design an experimental workshop. So which you've already taught in Miami and Los Angeles. What do you do in your workshop?
well, besides to tell my own experience of resilience, because this is resilience, how you can heal from
That's
things
fine.
so
Yeah.
rich, I always tell my son's experience before pass away, but besides that, I want that person that goes to those workshops feels that life continue, because not only their loved one has passed away, but it looks like they themselves are passing away because they don't want to live, they don't want to continue, they don't have, they are like in pain, in pain, in pain. I met a woman that have lost her daughter, and she told me, oh, I have my daughter's room, like when she passed away 20 years ago. It's the same room with his clothes and
Yeah.
everything. And I said, no, oh my God, it can't be your life. Where is your life? Because all of us have a life. And this beautiful loved one that have passed away before us, because everybody's going to pass away, okay, they um, they are in another place, okay, like my son told me, and like many thousand and thousand and thousand persons that have had this experience. There are books written by this person that passed away and came back, and many of them come back with message from heaven. And this is we need to, in my workshops, I love to speak about that with joy, not with pain. That people have to, need to think in this process of life and death like something very natural, and like not that is not an end, it's the beginning of a new life. Okay, so I
Okay.
will.
So in your workshop, you're trying to show people different sides and different perspective towards a life, in particular those who've lost their loved ones, and,
Yes,
and practicing with them. That's what exactly happened to you years ago after you lost your son.
yes. Especially I guide them and ask them, please, you need to be calm. You need to
Mhm.
be in an inner peace. If you don't get that inner peace, it's almost impossible to understand what is this, what is life, what is death. You need to be calm, and also when you are calm, you begin to to get signs from your loved one in dreams, in casuality, coincidence that never are coincidence,
Okay.
and you know. So, and the workshop I introduce people in some practices like meditation, like yes, and it has been a beautiful experience, because I have many testimonies of persons that give me thanks because
Of
they.
course, of course. Of course. So now I want to say there are lots of questions coming through, and I was not expecting that. We'll get through that. So, one of the things I've noticed among writers, because you've been writing for many years, so one of the things that I've noticed among writers is that they usually prefer to write than speak. So they prefer to convey their messages in writing, and in most cases it's hard for them to talk. Do you agree with that?
Why not? No, I like to write. I like to speak, but I love to write. But when I told you, when I realized that when I tell this story, people are like, oh my God, thank you for telling me this. I felt, I wrote the book with an intention to
Hmm.
support and help people that have lost loved one. That was my intention. I'm very clear. And it was like um, a surprise for myself when in the first month I launched the book. It was a bestseller in Amazon, and it was, oh my God, this is a sign. This is a sign. So
So,
immediately, well,
Elizabeth,
I got
how many
many.
mhm. how many books you've written so far?
Well, you know, uh, as you said, I'm a ghostwriter. I have
What what tell me about what's a ghostwriter?
ghostwriter is a person that um, you can contact for to write a book for you. For example, Borna wants to, tell his life or whatever he wants to tell, and but don't know how to, to write, to do a book and everything, and they contract a ghostwriter. You contact me, and you pay to me, and I write for you. Yes,
Interesting.
and it's a very interesting, very very interesting process, because it's almost like a film, because you have to introduce in the life of the other person. Is if it is biography or something like that, you have, for example, the way I do it, I do many interviews, and record those interviews, and because I have to um, sorry, are you there? Yes.
Yeah.
Because I have to write in first person, like if I'm you. So I need to be the most you, you know, to write. And it's very interesting
I
process.
yeah. I think it's very very interesting.
Yes,
I
and
can
I have written um, short stories, biography, and now at this moment I'm working in a book for a person about finances. First time, finances is like,
okay.
yes, yes.
That's interesting because I didn't know actually what's the meaning of ghostwriter, but I'm glad you mentioned that. So tell me, Elizabeth, why did you become a writer? Tell me about the connection between yourself and writing, and tell me about that. How you connect with writing?
Myself, I'm writing. Oh my God, I can tell you something very
Your connect, your,
lovely.
your connection with writing. That's the most.
Yes, but I can tell you that I learned to write by myself. I was 4 years old, and
Yes.
I used to read my older sister book, she was learning to read and to write, and I alone used to read it. And one day, my mom says, one day you surprised me. You were reading, so, and you were writing alone at 4 years old. So always during my school, time, I was always writing the stories for the school, and had a newspaper in the high school. And I always, and my profession is journalism. I
Yes.
studied at the university, and but I always love to write. I have writing scripts and documentaries and books for others, like, I don't know, four. And now I need to think in my other book, my own book.
Of course. And that was one of the main reasons I wanted to have you on my show, because the experience that you've been through as a mother who is also a migrant, that I wanted to have you here on my show. And it's for most of the people, it's very difficult to share their experiences regarding of what we're talking about. But for you, I love the way that you're talking, and I love the way that you see the things. And now I want to talk to me. There are a few questions that I'll go through it. This is kind of my last question. So, tell me about the podcast. So, you have a podcast on SoundCloud and other platforms. So, and where you shares your inspiring experiences and learning. What is your podcast about? Tell me about that.
Yes, well, first of all, it is in Spanish because I work with Hispanic community that is huge, you
Of
know.
course.
Yes, and it's my book, and you know um, workshops and everything. I said, well, I need to, but like 2 years ago, I think so, one year and a half ago, I began to do this podcast in Spanish, and it has been very beautiful. Now I did it like I'm in a pause. I haven't
Okay.
done it since during the quarantine. You know, uh, are you there? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Um,
Sorry. Asking people's questions at the same time as I'm listening to you. Yes.
yes. So my podcast is SoundCloud. Is wow. Is because I think if you speak from your experience, not from theoretic, I
Yes.
can speak
Ye-
from my experience. And when I find out that something is working for me, I say, why is not going to work for another person? Because we are the same. So um, I love to tell, yes, I love to tell about my experience, what did I learn, and how can I, you know, do this and this and this to to improve my life, because everything in finally everything is about love. And for me, love is a verb. Love is in action, is doing. It's not saying I love you, mom, or I love you, brother, or I love you, darling, spouse, or everything, but doing, doing in gerundio, you have to do actions, love in action.
Of course, because a lot of things, but they don't act the way that they're talking. And let me read one of the questions. So, uh, Oh, okay. So it's 11. Hi, Borna. I have two questions. First, can you share with us when the book will be available in English? Um,
Um, I hope to the end of the year. This book in Spanish is in Amazon. I'm sure that the one in English will be in Amazon also. In Australia, Amazon Australia is already in Spanish. Maybe you have a person hearing this live who speaks Spanish. He can buy it now. But I think at the end of the year, hopefully, or next year. Yes. We don't know. You know, we're in a time that we don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. Well, every day we don't know what's going on tomorrow, but in this coronavirus time, it's,
so
we
you're
don't know
gonna publish
anything.
the questions stuck here on my sorry uh on my screen.
Oh,
I need to disconnect you, and
yes.
I need to.
Oh, the
Okay,
question.
hang on.
No problem, no problem.
Okay.
Very important. He was like, I, I don't want to go.
So as you say, that's
No
like
problem.
you want to it's the middle of its translation to English, yeah?
No, the translation is already.
Okay.
It's done. Yes, I'm in the middle of, you know, looking for a publisher because the Spanish edition wasn't auto publishing. I did it by myself in Amazon with no else.
Okay.
So yes, I now for the English version I would love to have a publisher, and I'm in this process. Yes, yes. So I don't
Did you
hear. Can you?
did you like our conversation?
If I what?
Did you like our conversation?
If I like it? Oh
Did
my
you like it?
God.
Did you like it? Okay.
But sure, of course. I always like to speak about death and life because I think it's the same thing. And I think the person needs to speak more about this. It's
Mhm.
not, it's a subject that is like, taboo. Nobody
Mhm.
wants to speak about that. But it's every day in our lives.
Exactly.
More now with coronavirus. Everybody is now saying, oh my God, this is uncertainty. No, life is uncertainty. We don't know what's going on tomorrow with pandemic or without pandemic. Everybody doesn't know don't know what's going on tomorrow or this night or an hour later. We don't know. This is part of the script that we don't know. you know,
Exactly.
the script of
Exactly.
the film. Like we need
Hopefully,
to perform the best we can.
yeah. Hopefully, we're gonna hopefully get a chance to make this book into the movie, or just make the movie of this book that you wrote. And I think that's going to be very, very
Oh
interesting.
my God, I would love it. I would love it. Yes, 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 yes. I'm very happy with this conversation. No, thank you. And forgive my English is not so good, but I I I know that we speak hard language.
Yes.
Everybody speaks hard language.
Yes.
That's my language.
Thank you. All right, you take care. I talk
Thank
to
you
you
for
soon.
having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Love you.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye. Thank you very much for watching us in the conversation with Elisabeth Baralt. So if you want to find out more about Elisabeth, you can go to her page. And sorry, I had to wrap up this conversation. So if you have any question, there are lots of questions. So you can go to Elisabeth's page and find out actually what we're talking about and about herself.